Welcome to Cutting Down the Net, Saturday, January 15th. Tons of games, and I gotta go quick because I know it's wild card weekend. Got NFL football, man. Let's get through these, tell me what to bet, and let's move on with our lives. A lot of new people here lately, so here's who I am. You can find me on BetStamp, user ID CDTN for the year, 55.8% on 507 games last 7 days, 21-16. So what am I? I'm transparent. I'll walk you through the reasoning behind any play I'm making. I project my own point spreads, and I'll share those with you. How do you tackle a Saturday slate? Well, there's 115 games. So I ran my efficiency model, basically taking the adjusted offense of Team 1 versus the adjusted defense of Team 2, taking the adjusted offense of Team 2 versus the adjusted defense of Team 2, project their pace, and you get a point spread. I weight recent play more than most analytic sites, but not too much. I still rely on a good sample size. That turned my 115 games into 38 that I could dig into. Now, do I want a betting card with 38 plays? Absolutely not. So go through, identify based on matchups what the best plays remaining are. I'm a DFS player, so I actually compare it to playing DFS. You run a projection model, you find your point per dollar plays, you could sort by ceiling, whatever you want to do, and ultimately you filter that down based on matchup, implied team total, whatever it might be. So very similar approach. I have been left with 9 games that are in my final pool. Some I'm betting right away, and a couple I'm monitoring. So let's get to it. Number 1, I did you all a huge favor. 1, I'm not going to make you go through all these gray games here that didn't make the cut because the variance was not large enough. So what I'm looking for is when I project a point spread, I want at least a possession between my number and what the line is. But I did you a favor on this Saturday because, hey, it's NFL day. Like, we got to move quickly. This is sorted by tip times. So if you're watching this game in the middle of the afternoon, the first few games are done. But as we go through the remaining games, there'll be plenty left. So this was my first pass where I got down to 38 games. I'll show you why I'm not playing some and why I am playing the others. Number 1, Texas Tech, Kansas State. I expect this to be a very popular situational play. That's all I see it as, is a situational play. I understand it. I get it. That's not me. There are people that are very good at situational betting. It makes sense. I understand it. And this does not show as a data play for me. Number 2, Seton Hall, Marquette. My data has Marquette favored by 3.5, and they're getting a 1.5. Well, this is why I go through it. Marquette's profile is lifted heavily by recent three-point offense, and shot quality has Marquette as the 58th best team. Seton Hall is the 12th. So what is shot quality? We're going to reference that in all these games. Shot quality projects what the point per possession should have been for teams based on the shots they took, where they were on the court, and who was shooting them. So sometimes you'll have a game like Alabama, Missouri, where it's like, how did Alabama lose that game? And when you dig into the shot quality, yeah, they really shouldn't have. And shot quality is a great resource. I think it has a lot of potential. I certainly use it, but is not how I make all my decisions. So this would be a pass for me. Number 2, Dayton at Duquesne. It's close. So Dayton's 76th in shot quality. Duquesne is 173, but I'm only showing a 2.5 point variance here. So I would have to get a number less than 3. The reason I listed it, this line is 3.5. KenPom is 3. So it is likely that it could go down to 3. And at that point, it's getting close to a play. Maybe it gets steamed to less than a possession, and then I'd be in on Dayton. Vermont and UMBC, this is a high variance game. The Vermont offense is really clicking, but sometimes that means too well. I do see some inside edges for Vermont if the shots are not falling from a shot quality perspective. Vermont is far and away better, but this is a big number on the road. So my data had this as a 4-point game. Point spread is 7.5, but I'm going to sit this one out. Cornell and Yale. I have Cornell favored by 1. So this was a question on a recent video. All my point spreads that are listed here, whether it's mine, Torvik, KenPom, or actual, are the home team spreads. When it's a minus, that indicates that the home team is favored. When the minus is not there, it's a positive number, that indicates the road team is favored or projected better. So in this example, I have Cornell favored by 1, but the line is Yale favored by 6.5. That's why we get a 7.5 point difference off to the side. Now, in the next example, there's a minus sign in front of Iowa State, so Iowa State is minus 1.5 on my model. All right, back to Cornell. Cornell, 159, 91, and 234 in shot quality. That is total, and then offense, and then defense. Yale, 210, 223, 208. Cornell's profile is lifted a little bit by 2 games, so it's kind of shaky. It is a high variance game. These are similar styles. They shoot a lot of threes, and that makes games hard to project. However, with this much variance between my number and the point spread, I'm comfortable enough to play here. However, I think this line could touch 7, so I'm going to sit a little bit on this. So I will likely play it. It may not show up on BetStamp right away as I'm holding out for a better number. Texas and Iowa State. I'm not sold on Texas's offense, but man, I'm not sold on Iowa State's offense. So this shows as a play because I have Iowa State favored, whereas they're getting 2.5 points because Texas is favored on the point spread. Shot quality perspective, Texas is stronger. Weird things happen at Hilton Coliseum, but I'm going to sit that game out. SMU and Tulane. Shot quality, SMU's 33rd, Tulane is 135. I assume this gets bet up, though, so we'll see how far. But Tulane's recent 3-point defensive luck skews their numbers a bit, and that's why I'm currently sitting that one out. Drexel and Northeastern. Drexel, 150 in shot quality. Northeastern, 265. Northeastern, I believe, is actually worse in their profile due to some early season 3-point defensive luck. Similar styles, should be a close game. I just have an edge to Drexel, so give me the 2.5 points that we're getting there. Oh man, weird game here. All right, 5.5 points variance because I have LSU by 12.5, and the line's only 7. So here's the problem: shot quality, LSU 29, Arkansas 39. These teams are closer than obviously the 12.5. So how am I getting the 12.5? Well, that's what's happened. Arkansas's adjusted defense, not that strong. LSU's adjusted defense, elite right now. And that's really driving that number for me. The Arkansas profile is actually helped by that recent Missouri game, or else it'd be even worse. It'd be like a 13, 14 point spread for me for LSU. So why am I not playing it? Shot quality scares me that based on the shots these teams are taking, LSU is running like the sun. Xavier Pinson not playing scares me. 3-point regression scares me. LSU ball handling scares me. So there's enough there that I'm going to sit that out. But man, it's hard to. Denver, South Dakota State. I think the Denver offense is competent enough to not lay this many points. If I'm laying a lot of points, I want the other team to be capable of extremely long droughts. And I think the Denver offense is good. It's not good. It's good enough in this spot. SFPA, an awful team. Merrimack, unfortunately, an awful team. So while I have Merrimack by more than the 4.5, this is a nope for me. Texas A&M at Missouri. Texas A&M, 32 in shot quality. Missouri, 121. This Missouri profile is lifted by that fluky Alabama game. I mentioned it earlier in this video. And there are a lot of Aggie edges here. Offense, defense, turnovers. The fact that the KenPom number 6 and this is 4.5. Sign me up. I think the line will only go up. There'll be closing line value. And I like the matchup. And I like the adjusted efficiency profile. Let's let's get in the dumpster here. We got Coppin State and Morgan State. It's a gross MEAC game, but I think there's an edge. Coppin State, 288 in shot quality. I'm going to do this without laughing. Morgan State, 322. Here's where I think the edge is. Coppin State has played like a top 50-ish schedule, and Morgan State has played like a 250th schedule. But this is for sure a gross MEAC game. But I do see an edge here. I have Coppin State by 4, and we're getting a 1.5. Not betting it immediately because KenPom has it at 2. I think that might be able to climb just a little bit. Chicago State on the road showing us a play? No. Look, I can bet Coppin State during an NFL weekend, but you asked me to bet Chicago State. We've gone too far when you want the Cougs. All right, Louisville and Pittsburgh. Whew, tough one here. Okay, I have Pittsburgh by 1. Pittsburgh is getting 4 because Louisville's favored by 4. Shot quality, Louisville 93, Pitt 154. Louisville won at home versus Pitt by 3 earlier this year. This has been a 6-game defensive slide for Louisville, and the Pitt offense is stabilizing a tad. Matchup edge, it's the least important of the 4 factors, but Pitt is number 1 in free throw rate. Louisville is 262nd. I buy Pitt at anything 4 and above, and I think that number will go up a little bit because it's Pittsburgh. Kennesaw State, Stetson. Slight edges here, but man, it's gross. Like, it's tough. But if Stetson was given a full possession, I'd be on the Kennesaw State side. North Texas, Western Kentucky here. This just isn't enough variance for me. I do like the North Texas side, but it is just not showing enough value for me. Norfolk State and Howard. This is closer in shot quality to an even matchup. And this just isn't the matchup for Howard to lay points. There will be matchups where Howard is capable of laying points. But they have turnover concerns here. They have rebounding concerns here. And there was enough to give me pause. Oh, look who's back. Towson. How many times are we going to bet Towson? Well, they're undervalued still. So here we are. Towson on the road at Elon. Towson 142 in shot quality. Elon 280. Elon is a high variance team. They've had an inconsistent profile. But, yeah, I just see value here. I see a couple possessions of value. KenPom has it at 6 even. So at 4.5, there's an edge there. And that's why I've bet that one already. I think that will only go up. So at what point would I stop? Probably 6.5 if the line moves that much. I still like the Towson side at that number, but obviously prefer less than 2 possessions. Incarnate Word at Texas A&M Corpus Christi showed as a play. There is a major turnover edge for Corpus Christi. There's an offensive rebound edge. It's just a lot of points, and Corpus Christi is just not at that level. Maybe consider a live bet. They got off to a slow start, something like that. Eastern Michigan, Northern Illinois. Eastern Michigan 266 in shot quality. Northern Illinois 329. This play is just a bit thin. It's only showing about a possession of value. And tough to back an EMU team on the road. Omaha at South Dakota. Yeah, I can't. Not Omaha. No. No Omaha. That's what I'll say to that. Toledo, Bowling Green. Toledo 138 in shot quality. Bowling Green 199. Line is 3. I have Toledo by 6. Toledo's been running pretty hot. Not enough value here for me to jump on it. And I don't know. Line probably goes up. I just think it's a little bit tight. Northwestern State, Sela, Southeastern Louisiana. Going to pass on that. Just not enough value. Portland State, Sacramento State. Showed it as an efficiency play. Shot quality prefers the Portland State side, so I'm going to sit that out. Nevada and Air Force. Whew, I have this less than a possession, which is scary, but that's a sign of how bad Nevada has played. Shot quality perspective, Nevada's at 126, Air Force at 251. So 8-5 Air Force is severely overvalued from a shot quality perspective. I want to make that very clear. I understand that. They're likely due for 3-point regression both ways, offensively, defensively. But 9.5. 9.5. Purely a number play here. I do think Air Force is overvalued, but 9.5 at home against Nevada. That's enough for me. FIU, Middle Tennessee. Shows as a Middle Tennessee play, but shot quality prefers the FIU side. Sloppy game, lots of threes. I'll pass. Colorado State versus San Jose State. This would be a play on Ted Lasso, Miles, and you would have to get out your believe sign. Major concerns inside. Just this week, Big O from Fresno went for 31 against San Jose, and now they get the body, David Body Roddy. And I don't know. It's shown as a play. 12 is a lot of points. San Jose State, man, tough one. That's a tough one. I don't think they can do it. Shot quality doesn't either. Abilene Christian, New Mexico State. This one, I like the Abilene side. How many times have I been burned by Abilene? A lot. But this feels like the edge. Major turnover edge. They're going to get murdered on the boards. But, there's just not enough here. But if this got to like 8.5 or 9, sign me up. So, 7.5, I'm not there, but might get there. Loyola Chicago versus Indiana State. The Sycamores, the Trees, I think they're undervalued. They've had a lot of personnel issues. They've got a good coach. But this is the best team in the Valley coming to town. But 9.5, 3 possessions? So shot quality has Loyola at 22. A legit, good team. This is gonna be a team that probably gets that, 7 or 8 seed again, and then draws the most undervalued 9 seed, and then 2 awful teams will play in a different 8-9 game like every other year. The Trees, 155. So it's decent. I'm just scared a little bit. So we'll see what shows on that one. Liberty and Gulf Coast. Liberty 100 in shot quality. Gulf Coast 201. Liberty has an effective field goal edge, a turnover edge. Just not quite enough for me there. 2.6 points. Rice and Marshall. Rice 196, Marshall 137. So I like the Rice side. Shot quality likes the Marshall side. These are similar teams. They shoot the same type of shots. It's just Rice has made theirs and Marshall has not. And shot quality is giving Marshall credit, even though the shots didn't go in. That's what they do. I gave Rice credit because theirs went in. That's what I do. And we balance out to make good plays. Northern Kentucky and Bob Morris. Woof. That's a tough one. Potato Bowl, Idaho and Idaho State. Ida no for me. 2 really bad teams. Oral Roberts shown as 1.4 points of value. I have them by about 6. The line is 4.5. Why would I even list this? Because KenPom is 2, so it's possible that this slides towards the Kansas City side. And if it slides enough, I'd be interested in an Oral Roberts bet. Shot quality would agree heavily. Kansas City has been really inefficient on offense versus some bad defenses. So that gives me some hope for Oral Roberts. Well, bad defense. Houston at Tulsa. Houston, number 3 in shot quality. Tulsa, 151. Houston, lane 10.5. I don't even know if Houston could field a roster. Sampson talked about how it's been difficult to play 5-on-5 in practice because they don't have enough healthy players. They've lost Marcus Sasser for the year. They've lost Tremont Mark for the year. I think Fabian White's hurt. All that's happened since then, it didn't matter. They look like the exact team from a data standpoint. It's crazy. So heck of a job done there in Houston. So a lot of edges in this game. 2-point offense, rebounding. And Tulsa makes their living off turnovers. And Houston, despite the loss of Sasser, has been pretty secure at the ball. So 10.5, sign me up. But I would quit betting that game at 11. 11, I'd bet. 11.5, Probably not. Santa Barbara at Fullerton. Santa Barbara 165 in shot quality. Fullerton 129. Fullerton's laying 1.5. I have them more by 6. Both teams have been shooting very poorly. Slight offensive edge for Barbara. Slight turnover edge for CSF. It's a close game, but I am on the Fullerton side. Utah Valley, 200 in shot quality. Cal Baptist, 179. Offense is pretty neutral. Defense favors Utah Valley. Turnovers favor Baptist. Rebounds favor Utah Valley. It's a close one. It's a lot of games. Here's my card. Texas A&M, minus 4.5. Pitt, +4, but I am not betting that one right away. I might get a better number. Hey, sometimes you don't. Towson, minus 4.5. Drexel, 2.5. Air Force, +9.5. Houston, laying 10.5. And I would consider that my first tier. The last tier, Cal State Fullerton, laying 1.5. Cornell, 6.5, but I think we can get a 7 there. And Coppin State, 1.5. My name is Kane. If you're new here, thanks for checking us out. Hopefully, I went fast enough to cover that many games, and you can get back to locking in some bets and enjoy some football. Pretty soon, it'll be college basketball's turn to shine. Thanks for stopping by. Cutting down the nets, you can follow me on BetStamp CDTN. I'm out.